write plays better than the playwrights, make TV shows that rivet the whole nation, and finally and forever dismiss the lingering idea that comedy is a male preserve. She's just started yet another national tour to conquer the country she already rules. I lay my velvet cape in the mud before the glittering slippers of Victoria Wood. Victoria, it's great to see Tammy Faye and her eyelashes still going strong. Why haven't we got any TV evangelists in this country? What's wrong with us?
Well, we have Thora Hird. We're not counting her. She wouldn't sell you a wig. She might sell you a jaunty berry, but no wig. We're just very inhibited, aren't we, in this country? You know, in America they can say, do you want to take Jesus into your life? And they'll all fall over you, wetting their pants and having orgasms. You say that to an English audience, do you want to take Jesus into your life? They're going, well, I don't know. It couldn't be before Wednesday. God could come, but not Jesus. I don't want open-toed sandals on my carpet. We're not a religious nation. I think people only used to go to church because there were no garden centres.
Have you ever seen anything quite like the infomercial for the very valuable Bow Dazzler?
I was very impressed by the Bow Dazzler, but I thought they really only skimmed the surface of what you could do with those bows. I thought there were many, many more places those bows could have gone. Coffins was a place. You know, there's that dreary moment, you know, when the coffin goes through the doors at the crematorium. I thought a few bows would have brightened up the whole thing. So, well, I'm sorry he's dead, but God, that coffin looked marvellous, didn't it? You could have them on walking frames, wheelchairs, truncheons, condoms, colostomy bags, hearing aids. I love this idea that making bows would bring the family together. I thought that was, you know, your 20-year-old son who's a crack dealer who's just about to leave the house for a night. Darling, don't deal crack tonight. Come back and make bows. Okay, Mommy.
It's probably the last words that some Americans hear, loop and scrunch. Shut up.
Scrunch. Did you get those two? What two words I would have said to her? Off and bugger, but not.
I thought the male presenter, the one with the gogs, Mike, he seemed like a pretty smart guy. Are you impressed with his sincerity?
Well, I wonder whether Mike sits in the dressing room before he goes out, you know, raddled with self-doubt and thinking, is the Bow Dazzler really all it's cracked up to be? Is this the best way to make bows? And he starts to like it, doesn't he? Did you notice about halfway through when she comes up with that brilliant idea of taking a horrible basket and making it look even worse by putting a load of old messy ribbon on the top of it? And she says that's a business opportunity. I think Richard Branson's heard of that one. And then he says, I'm beginning to like it. I thought he's beginning to like it. What's he like when he actually loves it? He'll probably have an orgasm, will explode all over his jumper. That could have been what the pattern was.
Hey, that's a really wonderful bow, and his eyes got bigger than his glasses. Yeah. It was a big moment
for him. Did you notice she gets the bow and she loops and scrunches, and when he turns up, she's going like this really quickly. He never saw that.
Have you seen Home Shopping Channel in this country?
I love home shopping. I have home shopping at home, and I watch it at bedtime. This is very relaxing. The only trouble with it is that they have to... Every item takes an hour to sell. They have to have it on the screen for an hour, and it's difficult for them to find like an hour's worth of things to say. And they say, well, here we are on Radio Cassette Hour, and as you can see, it's rectangular. And, as you know, that's the two long sides and the two short sides. It's the same at the back and at the front. They haven't cut corners. There's a corner on each corner. And what I very much like about it, and Jim can come on in this, is there's an on-off switch. You see, so you can either switch it on and you get lots of music, or you can switch it off and then you get no music at all. And what I particularly like is that when you do switch it off, it stops completely. No bars of music floating out into the atmosphere, no old scraps of dialogue. It stops. And the handle is just what it is. It's the same size as the hand, isn't it, really? Any hand can fit it, because there's nothing more annoying than when you pick it and drops it, you know, kills some bedridden relative. And they talk like that for an hour.
Yeah. You've been asked to do many commercials?
I've done a few. I did one for a low-calorie drink a long time ago. And I had to be on a tropical beach, and they poured me the drink on top of the piano. There's a white piano. We went back the next day, and all the lacquer had come off the piano where they'd poured the drink. I did a voiceover for biscuits. They were really gypsy creams, but they weren't allowed to call them gypsy creams because they called them something like Tinker's Crunch or something like that. Scrap dealer's wafers, I can't remember what they were. I tried to do a commercial for Sanitary Towels, and I did a test for it with Celia Imrie. And it had a revolutionary idea, because it actually said it stops leakage, embarrassing leakage, and you don't have to back out of restaurants with a dinner plate over your So they said the British public wasn't ready for this idea that sanitary towels and blood were in any way connected. We'd rather think that we just chuck a bit of blue ink about once a month. So I didn't get it.
Look, daytime TV was under heavy attack this week. Someone brilliantly called it stupid vision. Do you ever switch on during the day?
I don't usually because I'm working, but I go on it. I was on it last week. I did Richard and Judy. And they do a very good job because they're in this terrible studio in Liverpool, in Albert Dock, with people going, all right, Judy, yeah, all right. Which would be a bit of a strain. But they always have to bring it back to a sort of cosy level, whatever the discussion. They're obsessed with weight on Richard and Judy, losing weight, putting weight on. So I went on, so of course it was, had I lost weight? Had I put weight on when I was going on tour? Would I lose weight going on tour? Do I get a lot of laughs? Does that burn up fat? You know, and all this sort of thing. So I'm, you know, lobbing these back as best I can. And then they bring on this man who'd just come out of prison, who'd been wrongfully convicted for murdering his girlfriend's parents, which he hadn't done, and they just let him out of prison. Poor bloke then had to go on Richard and Judy, as if he hadn't suffered enough. So they bring him on, and they do a very serious interview. Well, how terrible to be wrongfully convicted. He's going, yes, was it very stressful? Yes, it was very stressful. And then Judy's eyes light up. She said, but you've lost a lot of weight. New strange way diet, wrongful conviction. Watch those pounds melt away.
If the television was on at home now, what would you be watching, Victoria?
All we ever watch now is Disney. Every night we watch Beauty and the Beast, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella. My children think all women have got enormous eyes, tiny waists, scrub floors, and never have sex. Nothing like me. I do mine with a damp cloth. But I tried to get them to watch anything else. I was like, Mary Poppins, no, her eyes are too small. They can't handle it at all. So I bought this video called Andre, which is the story of a seal. It's like a bit like Free Willy. Well, that was a good film, wasn't it, when that came out? People were very excited when they saw the ad for that. Oh, Free Willy at the Odeon. Is that a film, or is that round the back afterwards?
Andre the Seal.
Andre the Seal.
Yeah.
And it's a heartwarming American tale of this seal who's eventually released into the wild. And we watched it all. It was about 90 minutes long, and the credits roll, and it says, you know, cute 7-year-old Andrea Squogswogs. And then it says, Andre the Seal, played by Toby the Sea Lion. I thought, bloody hell. I spent 90 minutes of my life sobbing. It wasn't even a real seal. Hello, Toby, I've got a job for you. It's a seal. Didn't you? Oh, yes, I'll have to black up, but I think I can manage it.
But it's well known that you're the one who's kept the memory of Crossroads alive.
Why can't they bring it back? Every other naff thing in the world has come back again. You know, the liver birds, tuberculosis, but no Crossroads.
Yeah,
I used to like it because you could always guarantee that something would go wrong at some point. I used to tell my friends, you watch Crossroads because this was in its heyday when they did 4 a week and they couldn't edit it and things always went wrong. And there was this woman called Amy Turtle. And do you remember this little waitress? And she always used to get her lines wrong because she was about 95. And she came on one day and I said to my friend, you watch, you'll do something wrong. And she went right the way through and nothing went wrong at all. And at the end, she shouted at this person, she said, and another thing, you better pull your socks off. And the best thing I ever saw, I remember you once said that you hated Crossroads because every time you turned it on, they were mending a car. And however many years it elapsed, it was always the same car and they'd never got any further on with mending it. I once saw a woman trying to do a scene where she was ironing a shirt, and she'd obviously never been trained to do ironing and acting at the same time. It doesn't occur in Shakespeare, so she'd never learned to do it. Because there's only really that scene in Look Back in Anger where there's any ironing taking place. So she got this shirt, and she did one of these, you know, give that to me, Jim Henderson, and plonked on the iron board, and she started scrubbing away with what's obviously a freezing cold iron. She thought, it's only television, we won't plug it in, you know. So it starts as being a normal shirt, and it turns into something like where for decorating the ceiling. And then it turns into something you'd only give the, you know, for the dog to give birth on in the area. And they said that the man, you know, normal reaction would be, you stupid get, what have you done to my shirt? She just gave him this rag, and he said, oh, you'll make somebody a lovely wife, what are they?
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, Victoria Wood. And now, once again, as she